They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
What's up, everyone? My name is Ethan. This is Courtside TV. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into it. So today I wanted to talk about another officiating problem in the NBA. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about the three-point shooter jumping into a defender in order to draw a foul, and how that should be an offensive foul. Still think, I still believe that, and that is another problem that needs to be addressed. The other thing here that has happened a lot, particularly over the past couple of weeks, but it's been happening for a while now, is referees ejecting players for the tiniest little thing. Like, it's happening tonight. Tonight, Devin Booker got ejected from the game against the Lakers for two very weak technical calls. He was arguing a foul, and then he, bounced the ball back to the referee, and that was enough to eject him. About a week ago, we saw Redick get ejected for throwing the ball back to the referee. We saw Draymond Green get ejected for arguing a foul and got two technicals in the span of like 10 seconds. And I believe there was one on like Joel Embiid earlier this year. Somebody in a Sixers game got ejected like for pretty much nothing. And there's been multiple examples of this. Those are just some of the ones that jump out of my mind from this season. There have been lots in the past. There have been lots, this year already that I didn't even mention. So I just kind of wanted to talk about this and why it's so frustrating and how the NBA they've got to fix these problems here. First of all, I think part of the reason why we have seen it happen more this year, or I don't even know if there's statistics on it, if there's been more ejections so far this season than the past, whatever, but it does feel like there have been. And if that is the case, then I feel like part of it is probably due to there not being fans in a lot of arenas right now. And if there are fans, there's a lot less of them, and so it's not as loud in there. And the referees can always, they're able to hear what the players are saying. They're able to hear those things, and they're able to, get more offended by whatever the players are saying. It's not like the players are saying anything different. It's probably the same thing going on, but the referees are hearing it and they're acknowledging it, and because they can hear all those things, they're probably more quick to pull the trigger on a technical foul or on an ejection. So that's the first thing, and that's probably contributing to it. And I don't necessarily blame the refs too much for reacting that way to hearing those things, but the first thing I think that needs to be fixed is the referees need to understand that nobody is watching the game to watch the referees, or nobody's supposed to feel bad that the referees got their feelings hurt. I know that sounds kind of harsh, but in reality, this is a nationally televised game. This Lakers-Suns game is actually going on right now as I'm recording this. It's in the fourth quarter. It's close. But they need to realize that this is a nationally televised game. Devin Booker is one of the best players on the court, and we want to see him play. It's a close game. It's big. These are two of the top teams in the Western Conference, and now he's going to be out, for the rest of this game. And that could, swing the result of this. And it's a huge game with huge implications. And we should be able to see both teams at full strength without some ridiculous foul, removing one of the Suns' best players. And so that's the first thing that needs to kind of be addressed here, is that, yes, we get it. You're a referee. You want to be respected. You're just trying to do your job, and that's fine. But when it comes down to it, I think it's just more important for the league as a whole to just have their star players playing. I'm not arguing for ejections to be, for ejections to not happen, because I think there certainly are circumstances in which ejecting a player is warranted. But, just because they're arguing a call or threw the ball back to the referee with some sort of attitude, that does not mean that they should be removed from the game just because the ref got his feelings hurt. That just shouldn't be the case. It doesn't need to happen that way. And that's the first frustrating thing, is because these are big games that this is happening in. They're directly deciding the outcome of the games with these calls. Like not only this Devin Booker thing might influence whether the Suns win or not. They're winning right now, but who knows how it's going to turn out. And Draymond Green, about a week ago, I guess that was 2 weeks ago now, Draymond Green getting ejected for, late in the game, getting the two technical fouls and double free throws, which directly led to the Hornets probably winning that game. So it's frustrating because these are directly impacting outcomes of games, and it's directly impacting the product on the court because we're not seeing all the best players out there, and now the Suns are having to use Abdel Nader in the game when it should be Devin Booker. So And I think we just need to be more clear on what the criteria for a technical foul is, because, you know, like I said, I don't think that ejections should not happen. I don't think technical fouls should not happen. I think there's perfectly warranted scenarios where a technical or an ejection, should be applied in whatever given scenario, right? Players will cross the line, coaches will cross the line, and that's okay. That's just going to happen. But the line, that line that's being crossed is not where it should be right now, at least in my opinion. I think like arguing foul calls and complaining about whatever and, calling the ref a bad word, while that is kind of, from a perspective of a referee, that's probably insulting and doesn't feel good, right? And you're just trying to do your job. But that's just the reality of refereeing in the NBA. It's just going to happen. You're going to get sweared at. You're going to get cussed at. You're going to get yelled at. It's just going to happen. And not to say that, like I said, players can cross the line when it comes to that things. You can go too far, and that can definitely warrant a technical foul. But I don't think what Devin Booker did tonight was warranted a double technical. I don't think what Draymond Green did about a week ago warranted a double technical. I think it probably would have been fine with just one, but they had a very quick trigger, and we know how that goes with Draymond Green because he has that reputation. There have been plenty of other instances this year, specifically the Redick one. I think that was probably the worst out of all of them, honestly, because he just like put a little spin on the ball and threw it like, a couple feet across the court to the referee. And they thought it was disrespectful. And I didn't even mention the Draymond Green one from a game against the Knicks a while ago, where he was yelling at James Wiseman, yelling at his own teammate, telling him to get in position or whatever. And the referee thought it was rejected at him and blew the whistle and got him out of there. So that's the other thing, is like we need to have a criteria for these referees to know what is and what isn't a technical foul, know when it crosses the line. I know it's a subjective thing. You're never going to be 100% on this, but I just think we need to raise the bar a little bit for what warrants a T and what warrants an ejection, because it's just ridiculous. The refs get too, in their own head and too getting into it and all this stuff. And they're so quick to just snap their fingers and eject a player from the game. And as soon as that happens, there's no reversing it. And that leads me to my next point, which is these are not reversible. The second the referee blows his whistle and assesses a second technical foul, that's not subject to review. That's not subject to change. That's not subject to, reverse the call later. It is what it is. You're gone. With that Draymond Green scenario with the New York Knicks game, where he got ejected, pretty quickly before halftime. He was like in the second quarter, ended up getting ejected from that game. And pretty quickly afterwards, it was realized that he was yelling at his own teammate. The ref thought it was directed at him, but it was not. You can see it on the tape. You can hear it on the broadcast. You can pretty clearly tell that the referee made a mistake. Once everybody recognizes that the referee made a mistake, you should be able to say, okay, I reversed that technical foul, because it got reversed after the game was over. They took away the T, and he didn't have to pay his fine. It doesn't go on his record, and, it's like that never happened, except for the fact that it was his second technical foul, which disqualifies him for the second half of the game and directly contributed to his team losing. It's ridiculous. I know this sounds, it's funny coming from me because I'm a Warriors fan, and obviously I was invested in the outcome of that game. But I think that's the biggest example that we can have this year, where it was clearly a mistake by the ref, and it shouldn't have been called, and everybody realized it, 30 seconds after it happened. So if we can all realize that it was a mistake, why can't you say, okay, I apologize, sorry, take the T away, you can come back and play in the second half? Like, how hard is that? Come on. Can we not just reverse things? What was the league office for? If replay gets sent to the league office, why can't we send a technical foul review to the league office? They can look at it for 5 minutes and say, okay, you're good to come back in the game. I mean, come on, guys. Like this shouldn't be that hard to figure this out. So that's my 3-step process to fixing technical fouls in the NBA and fixing ejections. I think, the 3 things that need to happen. 1, referees need to realize that this is just the nature of reffing in the NBA. You're going to get yelled at, you're going to get sweared at, and you just kind of got to deal with it. 2, we need to define a line for, how far a player can go before they get ejected or a technical or whatever it is. I don't know how you make up that criteria, but that's what the league office is for. That's what all those bargaining agreements are for. They should figure that out in the offseason. And 3rd, if a mistake is made, you should be able to reverse it. You should be able to reverse it in the game, not the day after, not an hour after. In the middle of the game, you should be able to reverse to get a player back in, because especially on these national TV things, and when we're dealing with star players here, people want to watch their favorite player play. They want to watch their stars play, and if it's directly contributing to a team losing, by some BS technical foul, it's just really no fun for anybody except for maybe the other team. But even then, it doesn't feel very good to beat a team that's unfairly down one of their best players. So that's what I think should be done in order to fix technical fouls in the NBA. Now, you could argue that maybe they should go even farther. I would be open to making an argument about maybe raising the limit of technicals before you get ejected, like going up to say it takes like 3 or 4 to get ejected if you're not gonna mess with the criteria for getting a technical foul. I'm not sure about that, but that's, I think, an argument you could make. Because ejections just happen too willy-nilly, I think, these days, and it's just kind of ridiculous. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on the whole technical foul ejection thing. And I think that's about all I have on this. Like I said at the top of the video, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, ring the bell if you want to. Leave a comment letting me know what you think about this, the whole technical foul issue. Should it, am I making it a bigger deal than it is? Because it feels like it's been kind of a rampant issue this year. But yeah, I think that's about all I have. I'm going to get back to watching the end of this Suns-Lakers game because it's 104-95 right now, if you're curious. So we'll see. Suns are up. Looks like they're in a pretty good position, but 5 minutes left. Who knows what's going to happen? Anyway, with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.